Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining from. Thank you very much for joining today's session. I hope you enjoyed the music as well. It's available on Spotify. It's called the Sirinda Music and the instrumental. We thought we'll start with something Pakistani. We're really, really happy to have you among us today. Please do switch on your cameras. It's really lovely to see whoever is joined. And as people drop in, I'll introduce myself and the Global Schools Forum and thereby begin and have our host ready for today. My name is Ajay Pinjani. I've been working with the Global Schools Forum for the past 2 years, and I've been leading communities of practice with the Global Schools Forum. This is our 15th session on foundational learning. We started this community of practice almost 2 years back. It has become a culture of sorts where we've tried to discuss and explore very different topics and thematic fronts on teacher education to assessment to foundational literacy, numeracy, multilingualism, so on and so forth. Uh, Today, we have Durbeen with us, the Government Elementary College of Education in Pakistan. Would share a bit more about them, and they'll be happy to share about themselves as well. But before that, we really are grateful for your presence. We encourage and appreciate undivided attention. I know you've come from somewhere and you'll be going somewhere. So, in these 90 minutes while you're with us, we would really request if you can be fully with us. Um, through your heart and mind, all of it. And your openness has always created magic, and we hope it'll do it again as well. So today, the theme is preparing teachers for strengthening foundational skills. This thematic front has come in very, very often, very many times. And we had our last session with the World Bank coaching program as well, where questions came about around in service training, but also pre service training. And I think Durbeen stands out in its unique contribution with pre-service as well as in service, and a combination of that within Pakistan and partnership with the government as well, as you may have seen it from the video shared earlier. We are really excited to have Durbeen on board. Before that, I would like to share a bit about the Global Schools Forum. Many of you would be familiar with it. Our vision is a collective vision. All children can realize their potential through safe access to quality education. We are a collaborative community of non-state actors, education support organizations, school networks, and individual schools. Today, with all of your support, we are 158 organizations strong across 63 countries, serving many children with many schools and over 1.2 million teachers engaged across our global network. Community of practice has been with us from the very, very beginning. We believe that it helps us strengthen connections, develop peer learning, create alignment on different thematic fronts, including teacher education. And while there is a lot of learning across the board, we believe that there is enough very importance to contextualize what we are learning, and thereby we try to bring diverse perspectives from across the board. Today we have Sayyida Elia Zehra as well as Umair Khan joining us. We're very, very welcome. Thank you, Umair. Thank you, Elia, for joining us and giving the time today to speak and to converse about the Durbeen's journey as well.
Thank you for having us.
Before we take it ahead, we would like to do a round of introductions in a way. We're a smaller group today. Maybe we could even, we could love to, maybe if we could join on Slido, and we'll have a few questions so that we understand exactly who's joined, where from, and what's the perspective around teacher education in your context. You can use your phone, or you can type in when you go on slido.com. Please give me a thumbs up if you've reached slido.com and have been able to access a page which would say it needs to start. Great. Yeah, I'll pause it here for a minute or so and then go to the slido.com for the question.
There's permission denied to me, so I don't know why.
No worries. Let me go there and then. Yes. Now, if we see, are we able to see the first question? share the screen again.
Hello, I can't use Slido. Can you again show it? Yeah, thank you so
No
much.
worries. Yes, yes. Now, hopefully, it will be visible. And if it is not visible for you, technology often becomes a different challenge for different places. Please do type in your response from on the chat box. So we have people from India, from Pakistan. So largely from India and Pakistan. We can take the conversation forward in Hindi or Urdu as well, but we will wait. I can see Kevin as well from Uganda. Perfect. Yes. Great. Let's move to the next question. Is a teacher training degree mandatory in your country to enter the profession of teaching? Great, largely a no, but there are a few yeses. And the yes may be partially as well. For government and for private, it might be different, just to understand the landscape of where we're joining from. So we have yes and no. And partially true as well. Okay. Let's move to the last question. And this you can apply for more than one option. So which of the following statements reflect the current status of teaching in your context? We have people joining in as well. If you can see the screen, but you don't have time to go on Slido, please put your answers on the chat box. We would love to know who has joined and where from. We're getting a lot of teaching is considered a lesser valued profession. We were also thinking whether to put low paying professions separately or not, but I felt it was just important to have that as a separate question as well. We're getting responses for that as well. And teaching is a low paying profession. And would anyone want to elaborate on the second observation in your context when it is assumed that one can become good at teaching if they spend enough years teaching in a classroom? Please go ahead, unmute yourself, and do share your perspective.
Hi Ajay, I'm Divya from Opportunity to Finance. I'm actually having heavy rains here, so I've joined through my mobile data, so unable to switch on my camera, although I want to. But nice to meet you all. I was the one who voted for the second one. So it is definitely an assumption around here in India, at least in the south of India that I'm based in. It's assumed that if you teach for enough years, you automatically get promoted to probably an academic coordinator or probably a head teacher. So it doesn't matter. What they assume is it doesn't matter the number of skills you have and how much better your students are doing. What matters is how many years have you been teaching? Oh, 10, that's amazing. And nobody bothers about any other professional development that you did or anything like that. So the assumption is automatically that you can become good at teaching and you are considered to be a good teacher, even if you're not, if you are teaching for longer than 5 years. So yeah, that's what I meant by voting for that one.
Thank you for sharing, Divya, and thank you for joining as well. We have many from Pakistan, and I know Umair and Elia will share a perspective. But if anyone else wants to, Kevin, maybe do you want to share something from Ugandan perspective?
I'm sorry, I cannot. We're having a carnival at school and the noise is just so loud.
That's okay, perfect. But do share your thoughts on the chat when you can, and you have already. So great. thank you. This was just an introduction to understand the landscape of who's joined in, but this also demonstrates the different kind of needs we have, and that's where I would like to hand it over to Mer and Elia to walk us through the Durbeen's journey and how they think about it, and what is the Pakistan's landscape and what they are putting a dent into it, which is really, really amazing. So please, over to you, Mer and Elia.
Thank you so much, Ajay. I just need a moment, and thank you for the introduction. And I just want a moment to start sharing my slide. Okay. Is my PPT visible?
Yes, it is. It's
All
not on
right.
the slideshow, but I think it can be on the slideshow.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so based on what Ajay described and based on what we've just seen from different context, before moving towards sharing how Durbeen have worked on shifting teachers' belief in Pakistani context, I'd like to share some historical context about teacher training in Pakistan. All right, so as indicated from the poll, okay, so there was a 1-year B.Ed program, teacher training program, mandatory to take a government job until 2010, and it was just a procedural qualification that teacher would take in Pakistani context. And it was not mandatory for private school teachers to obtain a bachelor's or in-service or a pre-service degree before starting teaching as a career. Therefore, little to no emphasis was placed on pre-service training in the private sector, as a result of which teachers' quality was not up to mark. The government teachers were ineffective. Since they did not went through rigorous teaching training program, and teachers who were placed in private schools, they were of low quality. They were ineffective since they lack content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge.
Elias, sorry to interrupt you, but is it possible to put it on the slideshow because we are unable to see the text clearly?
Oh, do you
Sorry
want
for
me
the
to
interruption.
increase
I think
the
just put it
size?
on the slideshow. Just if you put it on the slideshow, then it'll be easier.
Okay, let me.
There's a
And
small screen icon on the bottom, on the left of the zooming option. There's a screen icon. If you see the slider, the zooming in out slider, you will see on the left of that slider, you will see a small.
left top. Let me just find it out. Left top. Okay, I do not see it. Just give me a sec.
Great. Otherwise, Ubaid, you can also share through
Where
your
you can
slideshow as well.
present
Yeah.
it.
At the bottom. It's at the bottom, not top.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can
at the
stop.
bottom.
I can share mine from here.
All right, I can do that. Mm. Okay, so I've stopped sharing.
So now I can, oh no, not this one, sorry.
Great.
No, not this one. Yeah. Okay, so is it in the slideshow mode now?
Not yet. Yes, perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, Umaira, would like you to move towards the next slide, please. Where the historical context. All right, G. So until 2010, when HEC, to improve the quality, introduced a 4-year B.Ed program, align with the global standards and emphasizing on foundational skills and reflective practices. This was a time when Durbeen took the initiative and partnered with the government to form a partnership in which, believing that quality education, the education of quality can be improved if the quality of teacher is enhanced. And Durbeen, because of which partnered with the government and adopted a teacher education college. I would like to know, Umar, next slide, please. I would like to know, how has teacher training evolved in your context? Was there a time when training was undervalued or merely a formal requirement? I would please request participants to unmute themselves and share the camera, and they can also use chat to share their responses. Okay, so in Uganda, primary teachers acquiring a bachelor degree in primary education is seen. Okay, all right. Can you please elaborate this? That why do people think that it's a waste of resource and it won't bring returns? Yes, Sufi Azmat. Can you please unmute yourself and share your input?
Can I go ahead?
Hello, am I
Yeah.
audible to people?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is Dr. Sufia Asmat. I am from India. So I'm
Hello,
working at
Sophia.
a Center for Learning Resources. So this
Mhm.
our organization is basically working in the area of child education for the last 40 years. So I would
Mhm.
like to tell you that if we see it from, generally that about
Mhm.
teachers' education. So the general requirement for any preschool and the school level teacher also has there are mandated degrees for them like B.Ed, B.L.Ed, B.Ed nursery, and there are other diplomas and certificates as well. So the government has
Mhm.
been very keen about it that there are
Mhm.
certain minimum standards that needs to be followed even in the non-government state and
All right.
private and aided schools. And with the recent advent of the National Education Policy of 2020, which is in enforcement right now, the Indian
Mhm.
government is furthermore concerned about it has a clause of CPD, that is continuous professional development of teachers, which is
Mhm.
not only
Mhm.
talking about the pre-service, rather that in-service
Mhm.
training and inductions and continuous 90 hours of professional development in a year is being compulsory, and it is in
Wow.
enforcement. It is in the first phase of it. So the government is looking more pro towards teachers' professional development. Let's see that how the policy unfolds itself in the next 5 years. Thank you.
Okay, so if I'm correctly understanding, a teacher needs to have pre-service training as well as in-service training in order to enter the teaching profession, both in state and non-state schools, right?
Yes, minimum
Wow.
eligibility is there.
All right. And we see that okay, but can that's there's someone from Uganda. Can you please unmute yourself and share your input, please?
Yes, thank you so much. My name is
Hello.
Priva. Yeah, and I'm currently working in Uganda, and I work with an organization, basically in education. Yeah, and we work in primary. So here in Uganda, for the last 2 years, the government decided that the primary teachers, uh, previously they would go ahead to go attain a certificate in primary education. So the parliament decided that this time around they should go ahead and acquire a bachelor's degree, to qualify to teach in a primary. But for the teachers that we have been working with, based on the salary that they get and the resources they believe they can put in to acquire this bachelor's degree, they look at it as a waste of resources in the sense that in the future, they won't be able to recover this money. They are really not looking at impacting the nanas, maybe nannings. All they are caring about is where do they gain from when, you know, they go ahead to upgrade. Then also I've seen instances whereby we go ahead to train these teachers in new approaches of pedagogical. So when you are training them, they try to embrace, you know, some methodologies. But when it comes like to implementation, it's where the challenge comes in. You find that a few number of them are ones that are willing to implement in classrooms, and most of them they believe it is like a waste of the time. They feel like for them, they want to keep, you know, implementing based on the other traditional teaching they used to teach. At the moment, they are not embracing these new approaches. As the point is, where do we benefit from, other than looking at how it would impact the nanas in terms of education. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Ji. So, Umar, could you please move towards the next slide?
Is it not showing? I moved already.
No. No, not now. Not yet. Nope.
Maybe you would have to pause the slide there, Kumair, and redo it, I guess.
Okay, let me do that.
Yeah, now it's doing it. Yeah, just do it. Yeah.
Okay, so I've reshared my screen. Is it now changing
I
slide?
can't see it yet.
I think it'll come. It'll come.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so we conducted a focus group discussion with our teachers whom we have placed in the schools now. They are our graduates, and we have graduated two cohorts from the 2023 and 2022, 2024, and they are teaching in our government schools from grades 1 to 4. We wanted to know whether there's a shift in their belief system about foundational teaching, about teacher status, about how they see teaching as a profession. And we conducted a faculty focus group discussion. The findings I'm going to share here that their perception, we saw a change in their perception, like they, as we could see from the poll that people find teaching as a less valued profession. They also used to think that teaching was often viewed as a fallback option, and everyone could become a teacher if he or she was could not do better in other professions. They said that they were embarrassed to tell their colleagues, to tell their friends that they have become a teacher. And they also, many of them started teaching after completing their 10th and 12th grade without having any teacher training. Next. Yeah. Their beliefs about foundation learning also got changed. Many one of them was like was of the view that I used to think that if a student is able to perform well in the notebook, then a teacher is doing well. As well as they also thought that at in early grades, drills and practice make a child perform better. But now, after completing the degree and after performing in a government school, after applying what they've learned, they started thinking that a child can do better, and there are a number of strategies that can be utilized in a classroom. Yes, I have mentioned an anecdote that it's our job to ensure all children learn using a variety of techniques. That they mentioned that after going through the teacher training program, they learn that it's not one size all fit technique. there will be one of the methods that goes with one of the learning styles. And yes, children learn with different strategies, as well as they also believe now, after taking this teacher training, service training, that yes, to teach early grades and to build foundation skills, a teacher needs to have extensive training to build upon strong foundational literacy and numeracy, which serve as the basis for secondary education. And they also mentioned that their mindset has changed from teaching, after seeing teaching just a job, to seeing it as a respected and valuable profession. Uh, they found the interactions with the faculty, the skills they learned regarding classroom management, regarding child psychology, and how students learn actually, as well as practical strategies from managing a diverse learner. They also gain confidence through hands-on training, practicum courses, and peer learning experiences. So at the end, they were of the view that after taking the course, after taking the training, they see themselves professionally, holistically develop in terms of values, personality, life skills, as well as their pedagogical and content skills. And yes, they've also learned conflict resolution, and applying various concepts to learn child psychology, and to learn various challenges effectively. Now, I want to know, have you observed or experienced similar beliefs shaped among teachers in your region? What enabled or hindered those changes? I would like you to please unmute yourself and share your input. You can also use chat box to share your input. May I please request participants to unmute themselves and also share their videos, please?
I think a few comments
what-
are emerging in the chat box, but yeah, it'll
Yeah,
be lovely
yeah,
to hear directly from people as well.
yeah.
Divya,
Yes,
you
yes,
were sharing about it as well. So it's about the
Yeah,
respect, but not
yeah.
aspirational. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely would love to elaborate on that. So I think
Mm,
in India, I think someone else also posted on the chat box. Teaching was considered a really good opportunity, professional opportunity for people back in the 70s, 80s, I think, and even the 90s.
mm,
It was a very respected profession, a noble profession. Both men and women wanted to become teachers, but over time, with the technology boom in engineering and many courses in paramedical and stuff, I feel that the job of a teacher is not something people aspire to become, although it was respected. When I say uh, they don't aspire to become a teacher, it's mainly because of low pay. And it is because of
yeah,
the fact that they always feel there is a better option. It doesn't attract the best minds, I feel. Although I
yeah,
believe that teaching must attract the best and the most passionate minds. So I
yeah,
feel that the shift here is mainly because of a lot of other career options coming up. But I wouldn't say that we don't have great teachers. We still do. And I think several organizations right now are working towards nudging the youth to take up teaching as a profession, at least for a few years or a decade at
mm,
least, or work with
yeah,
teachers. So that's definitely a positive thing. But yeah, overall, I feel that this is what is happening, and there is a lot of stress on teacher training, in-service teacher training as well. Like
mm-hmm,
we had another person mentioning it, and yeah, we have mandatory 90 hours training. Almost all of the state governments are taking that very seriously. And I do know that it's happening. And I work in the private school sector, which is low income private school sector. And we see a lot of demand for teacher training there as well, in service teacher training. They're welcoming organizations like us to train their teachers who have a basic degree but no other professional development. So I think with respect to training, there's definitely a welcoming attitude, but to the profession itself, I believe we need to make it more aspirational.
Yeah,
That's
and
it
I
from
think
me. Thank you.
as you mentioned that private sector also welcomes trained teachers, or they also focus on in service teachers, but there's a need to need to mandate the pre-service teacher training program to to produce a quality teachers in the first place. So how is this different in your context?
Sorry, can you please repeat yourself? I sort of lost you there.
Oh, I want to know that when private sector also welcomes in service training, we see that there's a demand and there's a need for pre-service teachers, teacher training programs to be in place. How is it different in your context?
Got it. So basically here, since pre-service training is mandatory, or rather a degree is mandatory to even apply for the role of a teacher, I feel that the degree of bachelor's in education, which is what it's called, hasn't evolved much. Probably it's still sticking to some old school methods, but we have come really far, and based on my recent anecdotal understanding of things after speaking to a few people, I feel there is a lot of things that require that update, So although the degree is mandatory and they all go and do the degree, I still feel that when they come finish the pre-service training and come inside the school, it requires a lot of I don't know, they need to bridge a lot of gap to become that
Absolutely.
teacher that the student requires. So I feel it's not rigorous enough, and I feel it's not updated enough at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Divya. Thank you so very much for your input. I like to connect. Uh, we like to connect here what you just said, that teachers require in-service support as well, and they require in-service rigorous support and practice. And we are working in this direction. Only Umair will discuss about pre-service, and then we will also share about our in-service support program that we have developed for our novice teachers. Yes, Umair.
Thank you so much, Elia. Before I move on, I just have a small comment on what Divya has shared. Like anecdotally, we also, uh, at least it is my experience whenever we talk to our elders, they tell us about how during their childhood, teachers and the profession of teaching was seen as a very noble profession. I think even that uh, perception is now kind of fading, unfortunately, in Pakistan. So not only is it not aspirational, that aura of nobility is also kind of sort of going away, which is sad. Something that Durbeen is trying to change. Thank you, Elia, for sharing how Durbeen is trying to shift beliefs around teacher and teacher education. I will now talk a little bit about our model, our pre-service teacher education model, and basically what structures we have in place and what key practices we follow to make sure that we train future teachers to basically bring about transformation in the classrooms. So as Elia has already talked about the model, it is a 4-year B.Ed program under a public-private partnership framework. So it is very unique in the Pakistani context. No other program, teacher education program, is currently run under that model. and that is something that makes it a unique intervention. And it is focused solely on the public sector, the government schools. We are preparing teachers to teach in the government schools because it is part of Durbeen's broader philosophy to make change to make change through the public sector, because that is what serves the masses, and basically ensures that everybody gets a high quality education. Um, and so to make sure that teachers stay in the at least they give back when they receive this education 4-year degree program. Our students sign a bond to then teach for at least 3 years in government schools which are being run by Durbeen's sister organization, which is called Zindagi Trust. And this is in return for the free education that they receive as part of Durbeen's program. And one value that I think distinguishes Durbeen in our context is its uncompromising commitment to quality. And that applies both to students and to faculty, that there are checks in place, there are mechanisms in place that make sure that everybody is meeting certain standards, and there is absolutely no compromise on that. And so the bar is really high, and there's a culture for high quality planning and teaching and assessment practices. So going into the details, first and foremost, of course, just as you need good teachers in schools to make sure that learning happens in a way that you want it to happen, you need good, high quality, highly qualified teacher educators and teacher education institutes to make sure that they prepare teachers of tomorrow to be those teachers. And so if you ever get the chance to go through our website, you will get to see that most instructors at Government Elementary College of Education are coming with wealth of teaching experience and with very good qualifications, and they are committed to adapting best practices from around the world for our context. And then in addition to that, there are also opportunities for them to grow while they are at the institute. So there are continuous professional development sessions for faculty, which I'll talk about in a while. And so connecting to that continuous professional development bit, there are structures in place that make sure that faculty receive all the support that they need to create high quality learning experiences. So one of the things that we do here at Durbeen is that we have faculty support groups, and these are small collaborative teams in which faculty different instructors work. So there's a different faculty support group for math faculty, and there's another one for the science faculty, one for the language faculty, and then for general education courses like methods of teaching, curriculum development, assessment, etc. So you have those groups in which faculty they meet once a week, they present their lesson plans. There's very good they're very rich discussion on those plans. There's a lot of constructive feedback, and so you the final product that you get is of high quality. So and then on top of that, there are regular, even mandated peer observations, and there's this culture of observing each other's classrooms and pick ideas that you can incorporate in your own teaching, and also give feedback wherever you feel there is a need for improvement. And the culture is such that everybody takes feedback with openness and sees it as something that leads to their growth. So you have that. And then as I mentioned earlier, there are regular CPD sessions, training workshops on different aspects of planning and teaching and assessment. So, for example, there are workshops on collaborative teaching strategies. There are workshops on the use of AI in lesson planning. There are workshops on how to design higher order tasks, integrate higher order tasks and questions in lessons, etc. And then every faculty member is formally observed by the CEO of Durbeen once a semester. And that, again, the goal is to make sure that there's high quality work going on and everything is aligned with the college's vision. And finally, we have great institutional support on the overall course design process. So whenever a new semester is about to start, everybody presents their course outlines, their assessment plans to different groups of faculty, and the institutional leadership is also present in those meetings, and they again offer feedback on overall sequencing and different innovative assessment practices, etc. So and so that's the start of the semester is usually a really busy time when everybody presents their course plans and their assessment plans, and there's a lot of rich discussion around how to make the course interesting and engaging and high value. And then those assessments, then when they are about to take their final forms during the course of the semester, then those detailed assessment briefs also go through a very a detailed review process, and there also you get a lot of feedback from the institutional leadership. So there's a lot of institutional support on the overall course design process. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, the planning and teaching process is very, very rigorous and high quality. So you do not see a lot of emphasis on lesson planning in a higher education institute. You see that in teacher education colleges, but even there, usually faculty in like higher education faculty are free to go in with whatever plans that they want to go in with, or no plans at all in some cases. Then there are no checks and balances on that. But here at Durbeen, the institutional expectation is that you will create high quality and thorough lesson plans before going into teaching, just as you would expect a school teacher to develop thorough lesson plans. And the idea is that we as faculty model good planning and teaching practices, not just good teaching, but good planning. And sometimes those plans are shared as exemplars with the students. And even if they're not shared with the students, we want to model implicitly and explicitly what good teaching looks like. And that applies both to specific subject area courses like math pedagogy course or a teaching of science course, but it also applies to general education courses like foundations of education or school community and teaching. There, maybe you cannot model a classroom pedagogy, but you can still, incorporate certain principles that make teaching effective. And so there is that expectation. And then there are also, some checklists that are there, part of our lesson planning template, which we have to adhere to. And I will show those checklists in the next slide. And we will also, when we break out into our breakout rooms, Elia and I will separately also show you examples of this thorough and detailed lesson planning process, what it looks like for different courses. And of course, all of this happens in a very, very collaborative way, with plans being discussed in faculty support groups. So as I was talking about lesson planning checklists, so every lesson plan has to follow certain general criteria, and then also some some criteria specific to subject area teaching. So the general checklist looks like this. You may have a look at it. You may read through it for a minute, and then we can go over it together.
Umair, can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
This is not on the general checklist while everyone is looking at it. I'm curious on the balancing act. So, for example, there is a demand from the curriculum of, from the government of Sindh or from the government of Pakistan, there's a curriculum demand. But there's also a raising demand, as you said, from the trends like the use of AI or other trends. I've seen Durbeen trying to assimilate both of them. How do you balance it? How do you pick and choose that which to give, value in the curriculum, and how quickly do you shift attention to it as well?
Yeah, so I can share. I can illustrate this by sharing an example from one of my courses. So generally, we are encouraged to use resources that can be replicated in a government school setting in a low or a low resource environment, and that is why it's a very chalk and chalkboard kind of model. So we do not, unless it is absolutely necessary, we try to model teaching activities using physical resources, low cost resources, instead of any digital manipulators or anything. But at the same time, whenever there is something can be illustrated using technology, or there is high pedagogical value to using technology, we do use it in our courses. So for example, in one of my math courses, I showed students a simulation that helped them understand an idea from trigonometry, something that could not have been shown as effectively using static physical models. But then there was a follow-up discussion on how such a simulation can be adapted in a low-tech situation. So what alternative ways of showing the same thing could be used in a government school where you don't have those resources? So whenever we use technology, also in certain courses, for example, in ICT, information communication technologies course, you have to use technology because it is about technology. Or in courses where you're not teaching how to teach, you're just discussing, the history or the philosophy of education. There, you of course, you can use technology however much you want. But when you're modeling teaching, we are encouraged to model it in a way that it can be replicated. And and when we use technology, we have a discussion on how to adapt the same thing without technology. Was I able to answer your question?
Thank you for sharing that.
And as far as AI is concerned, we have embraced it with open arms because it is inevitable. The use of it is unavoidable, and so even our students use it now. But then we have had to change our assessment practices to make sure that we are assessing them on the right things. So yeah. I hope you guys have had the chance to go through the general checklist for lesson planning. This applies to all courses, general education courses and subject area courses. So I would really like to hear your thoughts on having. So but this is by no means an exhaustive list, but it is a bare minimum that everyone has to try to follow at least. Any thoughts on the checklist?
Yeah, it would be great to hear from organizations who, because we know you are here in the room as well, because many don't have the opportunity to do a pre-service training program. Teachers come in and there is an in-service training program. Now, what kind of lesson planning is distinguishing or even possible in the context of in-service program? I think that kind of engagement would be really great. Maybe Cleopatra, you would like to share, or someone else from the group?
I have a question about the multimodal inputs and student outputs. I was just wondering, will that mean that when they plan a lesson, they'll ensure any one of these are used? How exactly does that work?
Yeah, so usually the expectation is that one lesson would have different teaching segments that employ different modes of information exchange. So if there's a lecture going on in the first segment of the lesson, the next segment would more be about group work and discussions and peer-to-peer exchange of insights, and maybe a third session could be where they are giving a presentation in front of the class, so or a performance task or something like that. So of course that cannot be done for every lesson, but it is encouraged, so as to make sure that the lesson is not monotonous, and also so that students get to experience different ways of receiving and presenting information.
Thank you. Understood. Thank you so much.
Great. Acha. So this is the general checklist. And then for subject area courses, such as courses that teach how to teach math, or courses that are about the teaching of science, or courses related to the teaching of language, we have subject area specific checklist also. And here the expectation is that at least one of these activities will be incorporated in a lesson. So for instance, if you look at the first checklist item, it is about teacher modeling of teaching activities and reflection on learning. So this is a teacher explicitly modeling how you would teach let's say a primary level concept in a primary school classroom. So let's say you want to showcase how fractions, a concept related to fractions is taught. So you will teach it in the exact way that you would teach it to a third grader, for example. And then once that modeling has happened, there will be a detailed debrief on that, where students will share what they noticed, what were the important pedagogical elements of that demonstration, teaching demo, and like what could be improved and stuff like that. So there is that reflection, and this reflection bit is very important. Without this, you could expect students to catch those insights. Some of the students could catch those insights on their own, but the debrief makes sure that everybody can glean something out of it, and everybody can focus on the important aspects of that of the pedagogy that was just modeled in front of them. So there is that, and that there's a very popular checklist item that of course you want to show them how to teach something, if you want them to teach it a certain way. But then there are other things that you can do in a subject area classroom also. So for instance, you could make the students teach, which is the student micro teaching, and allow them to go through the challenges and the experience of what teaching looks like, and then their peers can offer them feedback. And then there are lessons in which we are critiquing teaching activities, or we are reviewing textbooks, or we are comparing strong and weak lesson plans, um, or we are looking at different misconceptions that may come up in a certain topic. So all of these things help students reflect on and develop understanding about different aspects of teaching a particular subject. So it is kind of building their what we call PCK, pedagogical content knowledge. Yeah, any comments on this? I can see Syed Shahab Ahmed has raised his.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. You are going into very, I mean, you're balancing it with the detail and all these things. I actually just saw my emails. Divya invited me into it. Thank you, Divya, for this. I am with Divya in Opportunity International. Actually, I'm in Pakistan. She is in India. So just to give you a background, I am just listening to it. I did not go through all the emails and all these things, but I just have a question, a quick one. I hope you might have covered it or not, but you were talking about the lesson planning and all these things. We actually are doing the teachers training and all these things, but what I do not see it over here, or something maybe I have missed it. Is there by any chance, when you train these teacher, do they have the chance of like going through the theory and all these things and reading and all this stuff, is by any chance these teacher, they also like do a demonstration sort of things, or let's say they practice these skills and these techniques or whatever this is that is included in the course? Because I also myself have done B.Ed. I know it's a rich content over there. One can learn a lot of things. But what I've seen, like I'll give you an example from the Alhambra Iqbal Open University. You know that is the bigger one of the organization which is like across Pakistan. You would see a lot of people. But what I see is, or if I'm asked, we can improve. What can we improve over there is the practice sort of thing. They do not practice anything. They just go through the books, the theories, and all these things. And we all know when it comes to trainings and teachings, if 50% is the theory, let's say I'm just dividing it, 50% is your practice, if not more. So is there anything by any chance that these teacher get enough time doing the skills and all the techniques, practice and all these things?
That's a great question, Shahab. And yeah, we are going to get to that in a short while. We have 4 teaching practicum courses, um, which basically make sure that students get ample and an extensive practice of teaching. These courses are very rigorous, and we will talk about our teaching practicum courses in a while. But you're absolutely right. Without that practice component, you cannot really expect teachers to translate theory into practice. So yeah, so we have that in our courses. There are 4 courses that are school-based practicum courses, basically.
Umaira, I know you
Okay.
wanted to move to the breakout room. I had one more question, which comes from the community often is, when it comes to in-service programs, in-service teachings, many organizations rely on structured teacher guides. It's a 40-minute scripted lesson plan and people guide it. As an institution which is pre-service, but also an institution which is running a school as well, what has your observation been? What has your learning been in that?
Yeah, so we do have certain lesson planning templates which serve as scaffolds for new students. But as they grow in their journey, we start to encourage more experimental ways to plan lessons, and experiment with hybrid models and unstructured or modified structures for lesson planning. And here I'm talking about the templates, and not specifically about the content of the lesson plan. We encourage, or rather we mandate the development of original lesson plans, because of course as teachers you cannot just, it's not we're not creating postmen or post women, who just deliver a certain script. They have to be able to come up with an original plan, and have know what they are doing. So we don't give any scripted plans, or encourage that practice. We do give them structures to think. So for example, for a deductive lesson, they have they have the hunter model, the I do, we do, you do approach, where you start with a teacher modeling segment, and then an opportunity for group work, and then an opportunity for independent practice. So that structure helps them sequence thoughts in their for their lesson plans. But we don't not believe in scripted lesson plans, certainly. And even those templates, they become more like guidelines with time and less, some mandatory requirement or something like that. So with time, teachers get used to creating their own structures also, if that makes sense.
No, thank you for sharing. I think Shahab has a question, and in the chat box also, I think Divya also raised some question. Shahab?
Yeah, thank you so much, Umair. You're doing a great job, believe me. For the previous question, yes, it was great to hear. The second, this can be a comment, this can be a question at the same time. I actually, like I said, I haven't. I heard about the Durbeen. I heard about the Shazad Roy's organization, and now I came to know these two are the sister organizations. So he's been doing a great job. I know that thing. I haven't been into a lot of details what they actually are working on specifically. My question over here is it's not specifically to this particular slide, the lesson planning and all this, but this is something it just pops into my mind. The question that um talking about the teacher and training them. So of course we know the triangle. It's the parent, it's the teacher, and it's the child. Then if this triangle is working well, we can expect the child is learning a lot, right? We all know this is the basic. What my question over here is that in the content of this 3 or 4 year course, do we have anything, any chapter, any specific book maybe that emphasizes on the community mobilization? Like we know teachers are we say they are the agent, the change agent. We all know this thing, and they really are. They are working very hard. So yes, pedagogy, they must know about it, and all these things. Any specific thing that we are making them or preparing them, that when parents are coming into the schools, they are talking to them, they are welcoming them, and there is a good and a positive environment in the school. Plus we know in Pakistan, in such countries, we also need to have these change agent, as maybe they bring the awareness within the community as well. We know you guys are working in Sindh. We know Sindh education, they need a lot to be done over there. And the basic thing, it's one, the will of the government as well, but at the same time, at the demand side, when you see what's happening on the ground within the schools, I mean, to cut it short, it's the awareness within the school, the surrounding of the schools. So these two sort of things, awareness, and are they prepared to, I mean, how are they talking to the parents of the teacher, of the kids, the children? So are we working on these things when we say that Durbeen is like, this is because this is for 3 to 4 years course, it's a lot of time. So is there anything specific to that, or can we go towards that thing? It's just a point. I'm not sure if it is there. You can tell us. If it is not there, it's okay. I mean, this was just a thought came across, and I wanted to share it.
Yeah, Elia can speak a lot on that issue, I'm sure, but I can speak about the curriculum itself, the B.Ed curriculum. You're right, it's a 4 year degree program. It's very extensive. It covers different aspects of teaching and just being in the school ecosystem. And I'm a math faculty, so I do not know a great deal about all the courses, but I know that there are courses related to school community and teaching. There are courses related to contemporary issues in education. There are, different courses that prepare for these, other aspects of of a teacher's role in a community and in a school setting, and and dealing with parents and all of those things. And Elia, if you want to shed any further light on that, because our students, when they graduate, they go into our partner schools, which currently Elia is looking after. So Elia can also talk about that aspect of it.
Yeah, actually, Umay is going to be talking about in-service support that we are providing. A part of that is collaboration with parents. We let our teachers conduct session, meetings, because we are moving away from rote learning, and it's a very unique experience for our um parent body, where we incorporate, where we conduct different teaching and learning activities. So yes, we provide room for our teachers to talk to parents, conduct sessions, and they do talk to them. They engage with them. Bridging the gap, the understanding gap that existed for a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to come before I proceed. I want to say one more thing about the question that Ajay had asked earlier about giving scripted lesson plans. So teaching, as we all can appreciate, is when you're out there in a classroom, many unanticipated situations arise, and you can never fully follow the plan, and you have to respond to situations, and you have to adapt, and you have to have that presence of mind, and also that depth of knowledge and understanding that that you can come up with a pedagogical response, or a to a problem, to a contingency. And so for that, first and foremost, a teacher should have developed his or her own plan, so that they know what's the thinking behind it, but then also be able to adapt it. That cannot happen if you've got received a plan from someone else. So yeah, we do encourage co-planning, like collaborations, um, but also ownership of what you're doing in a classroom. Okay, so should I go ahead?
Yep.
Uh,
In the time check part of it, so we
so
are.
Ajay, do we
Yeah.
have to do we have enough time to go for breakout sessions?
We have a 10-minute slot, if that's possible, for
Then
a good sneak peek, or do
no,
you
then
want to
I
show
would
here together?
actually then I would want Ume to talk about our in-service support that we provide to our novice teachers, because it's something very unique in our context, and I'm sure it's going to be unique for in different contexts as well. So Ume, do you
So why don't we do
agree?
this? Yeah. So why don't we do this? I have a recommendation. Given that we're a smaller group, not that huge a group, let's
Yeah.
segue into a picture, see everyone's faces, come back.
Yeah.
Then you guys decide whether you want to do breakouts, or with the same
Yeah.
group, you want to give a sneak peek of both lesson plans, or one more than the other. You
It
can
will
ask
take it
them.
will
Yeah.
take a lot of time. Actually, the plans are really comprehensive in nature, and obviously, and I would want Umair to showcase his, and so I think it's better that we skip that part and discuss the in-service support that we provide to our novice teachers,
Perfect.
because this
Fair enough.
will you can then we'll be able to showcase how we are doing, how our faculty is modeling, and how we are preparing our faculty to model, and what we are doing with our teachers in the school. So it's gonna showcase our synergy between our teacher education college as well as school. So
Fair
yeah.
enough. Fair enough. So let's
Okay.
segue into a picture. We have
Okay.
I'm cutting your slide deck for a second and sharing a picture smile here so that everyone can have a countdown. This is our culture and a ritual which we do at GSF. So if we count back from 5 to 1 and we can see faces to the names, that'll be really, really great. So I'll count back from 5 to 1. Kevin, thank you. You know the grill. So 5, 4, and the more the merrier faces, that'll be really nice. 3, should I count slow? 2, we are waiting. We'll wait for others to
Give
switch on.
me like 10
Yes,
seconds, please. I'm
sure,
really
sure,
trying to
sure.
connect
Perfect.
back to my
Yes,
Wi-Fi.
Yes.
I was waiting for you to say one. You never said one.
Yeah, we just need faces. Don't worry about it. See, I like Martiam. Thank you very much for being in the car and then switching it on. So that's great. That gives a good sign for others to show their faces. So yeah, I'll count from 3 to 1, and then whoever is there. So 3, 2, 1, and here we go for a beautiful smile. Perfect. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah. So now, yeah, please, more than welcome for you to keep your cameras on. Elia, Umair, your decision. Given there's a 14-minute time buffer, I don't think breakout may be the best time. So let's go
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the pre-service and then take
In
questions as
service.
yeah.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, what I'll do is while the discussion is going on, I will share the poll as well, because the poll takes around 5 to 7 minutes to respond. So let's continue the discussion, but also take the time to respond to the poll so that we can strengthen our ongoing sessions as we continue. Thank you. Over to you, Elia and Umair.
Umair is going to be presenting. Umair.
So I think I've talked about the teaching practicum bit, but I'll quickly walk us all through the different elements of the four teaching practicum courses that we have. We try to give our student teachers exposure to both private and government school settings. But we mostly focus on government schools because that is where they are going to be placed after graduation, and that is the context in which they are going to work. The first practicum is mostly observation based, but then the subsequent practicums are more and more teaching centric. So they get lots of experience of actual classroom teaching with real kids. And what these experiences, in addition to honing their skill of teaching, it also allows them to have a flavor of working with students from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds, which they are going to do later on in their actual teaching practice, and in low resource settings. And also it is there are faculty mentors that are assigned to different groups of students, and they receive one-on-one support on different aspects of the teaching practicum, such as unit planning, lesson planning, etc. Faculty do graded observations of student teachers' lessons, and there's very there's a very rich debrief that usually follows these observations, and students learn how to work in a professional learning community. So they are also assigned different groups in which to work and learn the art of collaboration. And then there are also peer observations for students to learn from each other and learn the art of giving and receiving feedback, all of the skills that they will need when they actually graduate. So moving on. So this was all about in pre-service education and pre-service training. Now we move on to support after graduating. So when they have entered the profession of teaching formally. So we have we have recently in partnership with Zindagi Trust. Okay. So do we have time for this question, Elia or Ajay?
Yes,
Yes,
we do.
please.
We do.
Yes,
We have
yes.
10 minutes, which is sufficient for you
Yes,
to
yes,
join.
please.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's start with
Let's find out how novice teachers are supported in different contexts. So can we please have some responses? People can use chat, they can
I think
unmute themselves.
several in-person, in-service contexts, it's structured guides. That's what I have found across systems where, that has been the 40-minute lesson plans. Yeah.
Okay, so you mean to say that teachers are provided with the structured guides only, and then they have to deliver that a particular lesson. What
So
about support from mentors and all? Anything like that?
certainly, certainly. But given that there's a
Mm,
huge attrition rate in many organizations as well, I think what
mm,
continues as a consistent flow is that, as well as
mm.
the school leader's presence.
All right, all right. Can we have please some more responses?
Yeah, so I think Novice teachers, again, I am really not sure if they receive any solid support, to be honest. I tried to think
Mm-hmm,
of that question for a few minutes there, but like Ajay said, they do receive a lesson plan template or probably something they
mm,
call notes of lesson, in
mm,
just maybe in some really, I don't know, well monitored schools, the school leader
mm-hmm,
goes in for observations, shares feedback, but that's very far and few. Uh, but I feel that they do not get the support they require. So what we actually try to do as a part of our program is create these teacher mentors that you're talking about right now. So
mm-hmm,
we are trying to
mm,
get teacher mentors to mentor these young teachers. So we provide
mm.
training to teacher mentors and hoping that in my context, no-wise teachers would feel more supported in future through our program. So, but right now I feel the basic lesson plan is all they have. Yeah. And not even the checklist you guys are talking about. They don't have that comprehensive checklist either. It's a very basic lesson plan.
All right. Yes, Umair, I think we have our answers.
Okay, great. So recently we have, in partnership with Zindagi Trust, which is our sister organization. Zindagi Trust is basically running government schools. It has adopted government schools where we place our graduates. And so we have entered into a partnership with them, and we now have, lots of exchange going on in terms of human resource and in terms of knowledge and expertise. So, Elia is one of the people who has uh, changed to the side of the schools in this process. She's now a school coordinator at one of the schools, and she makes sure that our newly qualified teachers are receiving all uh, forms of support, whether it be uh, technical support or emotional support, or or logistical support, and these teachers settle in nicely when they graduate into these schools. And also she oversees and the whole school improvement process, collecting data and affecting certain changes which can improve the teaching and learning practices at these schools. And also then there we have subject specific mentors. So the faculty from Durbeen are placed in these schools on a rotational basis. So I was part of this process during this term, where I would go into schools. I would meet with the newly qualified teachers every week. We would discuss lesson plans. We would discuss struggles. We would share reflections, and we would talk about the challenges that arise in a classroom, and we would discuss ways to overcome those challenges. And so there was this idea of offering them content related and pedagogical and also emotional support, because one of the issues that with novice teachers is, and it is also documented across global literature, that the motivation tends to um, wane very very quickly, because teachers um, feel very overwhelmed in the first couple of years of teaching. So it's very important to have for them to have that support in the first or in first few years of teaching at least. So we do that, and we try to make sure that there is an alignment between theory and practice, and adherence to quality standards. We observe lessons, which are usually followed by reflective debriefs. And just generally, if we identify needs for CPD sessions or workshops, And if we see that many teachers are struggling with the same issue, then we design workshops for them. So there is that in-service training component also. So this is what we have come up with to offer structured support to novice teachers. And this is an evolving intervention, and we are trying to improve it as we learn from it. And so this is how we complete our whole entire cycle of, from getting high school graduates, giving them pre-service education, and then also offering them support once they are in the schools. And that's it from our side. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Umair. Thank you so much, Elia. I've put down two things also why we do communities of practice at GSF. Even Simple Education Foundation, who's one of our member organizations, is leading a virtual conference. So everyone is welcome to join and register for that as well. We have a few minutes. Thank you for putting out the poll as well. But is there any burning question which is remaining? But I officially thank you and allow you to, part your ways and on your own day.
So I have a question. Do
Please.
any of the teachers who are a part of this program, do they join only the state and government schools, or are there ones who go ahead and join the non-state schools as well? How has your I don't know, alumni, how has it been? Their future I don't know, aspiration, or where do they join? How has it been?
Yeah. So, and Elia can also speak on that. I also have
Yeah.
thoughts. Elia, if you want to go first, you can.
Yeah, actually, Divya, as you must have seen that we make our students sign a 7-year bond, where they have to, be part of our government schools for 3 years. And after that, they'll be able to, because we have our second batch has graduated last year. So our first batch, this is their second year. Uh, there are people, I would say, yes, there are people who want to join private sector later on, because of the pay scale, because of the incentives for private sector offer. But we haven't, seen such example as of now, because of the bond they have signed. Secondly, our teachers, we have promised them a government job in 16th grade after completing their degree, plus after taking the teaching license. That a new initiative that Sindh government has taken along with Durbeen. So yeah, um, they may join the private sector later on, but not as of now.
Thank you. That's very interesting to know. I asked this question mainly because we work with non-state schools in Pakistan, and we would love to have teachers who have graduated out of your program. It will really be wonderful. I was just thinking about it. And of course, we work with low-cost private schools. So you can imagine
All right.
how much support such schools would require as well. I'm sure Naim and Shah would agree with me. And when we work with those teachers now and we train them, we can really see the passion. And I think they would use a lot of help from getting such pre-service training as well.
Yeah. We look forward to work with you guys. And fortunately, our teachers have developed the sense of, sense of accomplishment. They know that they have become trained teachers. They know they have developed content knowledge and pedagogical skills, and they are very well aware of the fact that they'll be more than welcome in the private sector with a very high, pay scale and incentives. So, but yes, currently they are with us as part of the bond, and they are serving their time with us. Many of them are motivated, yeah, but there are always exceptions.
Of course, yeah. No, but it makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. I feel that the state schools at the moment require a lot of intervention, and it's of course
Yeah,
the first priority, and it always should be. Yes.
bilkul. Absolutely.
I think this bond is a great incentivization process as well to, to nurture this art of teaching
Yes,
well and immediately
exactly.
go
So
into
this bond
my team is in the trust
as
and
well as
as well. Yeah.
the job that is attached with the bond in a government school along with all these incentives is another motivation for our teachers.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. Thank you, Umair. Thank you, Elia, for taking out the time. I know it's different hours of your day, afternoon, evening, late evening, but thank you very much. You can always access our website for many resources on public-private partnerships, where Durbeen's case study is also there, and on several aspects of secondary education, foundational learning. But overall, thank you very much for your presence, and hope you have a lovely, lovely day and a week ahead. And Happy New Year as well. So take good care of yourself. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Jay.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.